It's not one without the other. And for you to study, where we get stuck with the character in the story. And you remember in school, we had something called as a reference to context. It was never reference to content, but we are stuck with the reference to the content. And that's our limitation that takes away the access to the context. It's the context that makes the difference. And in the context, you will find the psyche's free, exhilarated performance of metaphors and dance and pandavas and Natraj and all of that. But then you're stuck in this character, so you miss the structures. So Odysseus decides to go into the underworld. Well, Psyche says something in my life is getting stuck throughout. So I'm going to go in search of the underworld in order to complete my life. Psyche is the Greek goddess for soul. Or Persephone was abducted into the underworld. And that's Sita was abducted into the underworld. So when we choose the journey and interact with the space, sometimes we can choose it consciously. Sometimes we are pulled into it, and sometimes we are abducted into it. When the goddess of flower becomes the queen of the underworld. The motive of descent, this is the thing that I wanted to read to you, is the work we are doing through this journey. We move through the waves of experience, either up or down, in service to something that we choose to be delivered for, or to cope through life because we want to hide the truth. To discover and scoop up what has been held unconsciously by the self in the underworld until we are ready to respond to the call for the journey, and we are willing to sacrifice the external conditions that we choose to validate, and it's only then when we are ready for the release. Mythologies of dying and rising God speaks to the archetypal cycles of life: fall, autumn, summer, winter, and then the loop again: life, death, death, life. Apple, seed, seed, apple. You can look into an apple and say how many seeds are there. Can you look at a seed and say how many apples are there? So the mythologies of dying and rising God speak to the archetypal cycles of life, encompassing the flow of expansion and contraction, destruction and rebirth. The seeds of life and death are contained within themselves, just ready to be born, should you let the fall happen.